Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching Gossip Girl, Season 1, Episode 17.
Woman on the Verge.
Woman on the Verge. Okay, we are properly in the home stretch. It's second to last episode. I genuinely do not remember this last episode. I have no idea what happens.
It's the wedding.
I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of do. I'm
Lily's
excited.
wedding.
I'm excited now. So we pick up semi where we left off. It's the next morning after Serena has confessed to Blair. So she presumably confesses this to Blair, runs away.
Well, so what Blair says is that Blair went upstairs to get one of Eleanor's Valium, and while she was upstairs, Serena bolted, and it took Blair all night to find her.
I honestly think they do a serviceable job. But I remember this sticking in my craw the first time. I have a hard time marrying the two versions of Serena.
Sure.
Because other than like Blake Lively acting drunk a handful of times in a flashback, we don't get a sense of, like, we're told how bad previous Serena was.
Yeah, but we at no point until now in most of these times of stress that she's been having do we see her turning to the bottle or pills or something.
Or it's usually it happens off screen.
Yeah,
we don't see her actually spiraling.
Yeah,
we see
leaving
sort of
a bar with 3 dudes.
In which later she's like, I remember everything, and I'm like, it shouldn't be that. No,
yeah.
And so. It's not a big problem for me because it's actually something that I am very passionate about is I do believe people can change.
Yeah.
I think I wish that the show maybe did a better job of chronicling it because it's twofold. It's either that she really, I'm working this through in real time, sorry. Because thinking so the sense I get is not that she actually was so corrupt. I think she was testing boundaries.
Sure, and then once it went
once you think you killed someone,
yeah,
that's a believable breaking point,
of course,
and turning point.
Although, as Lily tells her, she absolutely did not kill someone, nor was she even directly responsible or almost even indirectly responsible in any way.
Well, in a technical sense, she handed him the cocaine that killed him.
And to quote Lily again, Serena, those were his drugs. He would have done it even if you didn't put it in his hand.
Yeah.
He would have just reached around you and grabbed them and still done it.
Well, and furthermore, I actually kind of like...
And it's like you said, it was also the hugest line of cocaine.
Well, it was just a pile. Yeah. I was like, that's not even a line. That's like a ridge. But, it wasn't Scarface levels
no,
for 16-year-olds. And that's another thing that it's the show navigates its relationship with the teenageness of the characters inconsistently, in my opinion, because I can understand Serena believing that her life is over based on Georgina having this tape.
Sure.
But really all this tape actually does is exonerate her.
Okay, that's the other thing, too. Here's the thing that breaks this episode.
Although I guess the actual death isn't filmed. It falls over. We're going to continue.
Whatever. The thing for me that annoys me is Lily sees enough, the part of the tape where Georgina literally says, Serena will never see the camera if it's here. So they're
this video
clearly entrapping her, and then immediately nothing else. Lily is like, "You're going to reformatory school," and it's like,
it proves that she was set up,
yeah,
and that that this man who is presumably older than them with 2 underage girls. I don't know.
15.
I'm like this. Yeah.
16 max, but I think 15. Regardless, that's the thing for me where Lily has seen the setup of the whole thing. And so she was having a debaucherous evening. I guess potentially Lily assumed that happened recently.
Well, Lily also sees it without any context.
But then she doesn't even let Serena, and Blair has to be the one to explain to Lily, you have no idea what's going on.
Blair
pulls through.
So the thing is, we love this show, and what this episode actually does is the plot of this actual episode is mediocre.
Yeah.
We enjoy what it does for the characters, core and periphery.
But
because
but I want to be very specific in what it does for the relationship individually between, and then as a group between Serena, Blair, Nate, and Chuck. The four of them, because literally they arrive in the apartment and Blair is like, well, Dorota has that amazing face first, but then Serena is like almost passed out in the living room or whatever. They literally close ranks around Serena, and they like will not let anybody in. Dan is like not allowed. It's so fascinating from like an anthropological standpoint. It's absolutely wild, because at this point Serena is talking to Blair and she's like sort of okay with Nate and Chuck, but like Nate and Chuck are not okay with each other, and neither Nate or Chuck is okay with Blair. And despite everything that's happened in this season, including many forms of adultery and cheating and like drugs and alcohol and everything, they all at a literal moment's notice, they're like, none of that shit's important. What's important is that we get to the bottom of this and figure it out and make sure Serena's okay. And
there's like 3 separate moments where Blair elevates, where she's sort of like, I can handle this. And then she calls in Dorota, then she calls in the boys, and then finally she does farm this out to Lily.
That's my favorite part, where she finally is like, I can handle a lot and I've done what I can, but like this is above my pay grade. You need to do something, because I can't do it.
It says something, because the upstairs downstairs, there is a element of that, especially with the Humphrey family in this show. But it illustrates that these
upstairs and then like middle floor. There's no downstairs.
Soho loft. There is a social discrepancy. There is a divide between these characters that Dan is not capable of understanding, and B is not interested in understanding.
Yeah.
In a story where time is a factor, as far as they know, as far as they understand. And so the closing of the ranks, that each of them has their own interpersonal drama, but at a certain point,
the health and safety of the group as a whole supersedes their individual problems.
It's like Q Lords Royals. You know, it is very fascinating. And I like I said, I love watching the stages, because Blair has several moments, and the moment that I noticed it subconsciously, but I didn't even think to vocalize that you did, is that when she lies to Dan, you see on Leighton Meester's face that she doesn't
I've got chills from Gossip Girl. It's wild.
Because it proves that Blair does actually like Dan.
Kind of like Dan. Like he has grown on her. And so she like lies about Serena, and he's just like,
she's like, Serena doesn't want to see you.
Yeah.
Which frankly, I mean, he's
like, I don't believe you.
That's definitely a straw.
Yeah.
But Dan treats it like a final straw in a way that I don't think.
Let's talk.
Do you agree with me? It's a straw. It's like we're gonna come back to this.
Yeah.
But right here for today, I will leave for now.
Let's talk about Dan and his simple ass in this episode. Just taken completely under by Georgina's bullshit. Thrice. The initial time.
While she's like mincing and sneering, like you can hear her eyebrow. Like
it's like the Bob's Burgers, the like horror sting in Bob's Burgers where it just spit everywhere. It's like the horror sting in Bob's Burgers where it's just like a shaky violin string where it's just like every time her eyebrow goes.
I just can't get over. It's fucking Casey Anthony. Like she just keeps. No, but it's like
that was such an intense reference.
She's taking you. It's like, remember when Casey was taking them to her office, and they're literally just walking around Universal Studios, and she finally hits a dead end. And is like, I don't work here, and it's like, like Georgina keeps like, because I don't know. It's crazy, and it needs. It needs the heightened Michelle Trachtenberg to even remotely work.
I like, honest to God, because I am a Buffy fan who is a hardcore Dawn apologist. I think Dawn is actually
I'm a Dawn apologist too.
Great. I love Dawn. I think she's great. I think, there you go. I think that obviously, yes, she is like an annoying teenager in season 5 and a little bit of season 6, but I just think a lot of that is justified given what she's going through. So whatever. Anyway, I think Michelle Trachtenberg is great. I think her Georgina Sparks is probably even more iconic than Dawn, in my opinion. And she is just absolutely eating the scenery.
Mm-hmm.
It is my favorite. Every time Georgina rolls around, it is so fucking funny. And this is no exception because, again, she has completely 100% taken under Dan and Vanessa. And she does it to Dan like 3 different times because there's the initial one a couple episodes ago. And then in this one, a girl is trying to call her Georgina at Rufus's rock show. And he's like, I think she thinks you're someone else. Not even a question. And then Vanessa finally is like, Nate told me that her name is Georgina and like we are kind of over our heads. And he like goes to talk to her and she takes him under again because she just is like, well, this is why I lied about my name because I have a dangerous ex-boyfriend. And she's weeping. And he just is like, oh my God, of course. Like that makes so much sense. Does it?
No, but I was gonna say, and that it's such a delicate balance because ultimately, at the end of the day, what we're dealing with is Serena was at a party where someone overdosed.
Yeah.
And this 3-ring circus has it's such a stupid actual reveal.
She
but
also
the show
tries to do everything right.
Yeah. But the show does such a good enough job of like of orchestrating this thing. It's because also this doesn't exactly relate, but I was just holding on to it because it pissed me off. But Dan is also a total dick to his father this entire time. This like gig of his father's where it's like
super important.
Forgotten bands of the 80s, yada yada. And in front of Lisa Loeb, he is downplaying his dad. Livid. I was so mad.
I'm totally on your team with that.
So Dan and Vanessa, they're fucking
actually Vanessa's not terrible in this episode.
She's fine.
She doesn't do anything outwardly horrible. So
she still has this like kind of pseudo courtship with Nate. I don't remember how long it lasts. I don't remember much about it. I mean, does it make her more tolerable?
I don't know. It can't last that much longer because he is definitely banging it out with someone that we love in the Hamptons in the beginning of season 2. So
I think Lily. I think it works. It's serviceable. It's patented, Lily. Because I also love that like the crux of this episode, Serena's sort of confrontation. She's been running from the secret. She gets this this meeting with his parents. It's like the crux of all of it, and the entire thing happens off screen.
Yeah, we don't see any of it.
Which, I mean, I don't know that casting actors to play this dude's parents was what the show needed, but there is something about Blair tells Lily. Yeah. Lily.
Well, Blair also tells Lily off screen. We don't see Blair recite the information to Lily. Lily just knows.
We already know it, so that's fine.
It's fine.
But Lily surprises Serena. They're parked in front of the house by the time Lily tells her what they're doing. And then it's very Archie being attacked by the bear.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's very sort of, it's daylight. They walk up the stairs. We come back from commercial. They're leaving. And she's like, wasn't that great? Yeah.
Wasn't that helpful to your psyche, your fragile psyche?
I don't know. It's it's fine. Also, what was that interview Lily was doing?
She took the most famous photograph of Rufus' band. So Rolling Stone is interviewing her as well.
But it's like the interview has started before she even understands what they're talking about.
Well, she knows what they're talking about, but as soon as the interview starts, he's like, what was it like breaking Rufus Humphrey's heart?
It was very... Oh, also so Dorota has been a figure in the show. Yeah. We have seen that person, and they've even had lines. I think the most significant thing thus far was that Blair got her a cell phone so they could text. But this is the first time that Dorota actually had it. I started to say intervenes, and that's not... Well, yes, actually intervenes, but she becomes involved.
Yeah. She calls Lily and is like, Miss Serena is having problems like she did before.
But it's like, it's very... Because she's like, I know it's not my place. She was like, but I think you need to know. Yeah. Like, I think this... And it's very sort of... Because Lily's a bitch about it at first. Because she's like, it's Miss Blair's bull. And she's like, I know who you are.
Thanks a lot, Dorota. I know who you are.
But no, I think it's very noteworthy because she becomes much more of a character and much more involved in welcome ways.
Whole own plot lines and stuff. It's great.
But this was really the first moment where I was like, I think they could kind of tell like what they had and what they were working with.
Definitely.
Those are all my specific notes. I did write down that because we've been chronicling how smart Serena is. She's more naive than canonically naive than I remembered. But she does know, because she says it when she's wearing that robe. She knows that Dan puts her on a pedestal.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I think that's very important.
That is something important to note also, that she tells Dan that she slept with someone else the night before. And so he basically is like, well, cool, I'm done. And he like leaves and presumably is gonna start hooking up with Georgina. It's disgusting.
I keep making, and I mean, I was about to be like, I'm not a Serena apologist, and I am, but I keep saying this, that there is an imbalance in their relationship. And it's like, I think Dan is too proud. He needs to understand, or he needs to make more concessions. And even if she did cheat on, I don't know. But
she didn't. She literally lied so that he would leave because she doesn't want him involved in it. But again, I just like, she didn't kill anyone. She wasn't even still in the room when he died.
And she did call them.
And she did try to call an ambulance.
So, well, I think that's the important stuff.
Yeah.
So Serena has gotten her feet on the ground for the first time this season. And we're trying to rescue Dan from Georgina's clutches.
Yep. We'll see.
Okay, well, we're going to watch the next episode, and then we will be back.
Bye.
I'll never tell. You know you love me. XOXO. Gossip.